which are all one sense, touch or perception. Allow me to further explain. Maimed human beings only had access to the 5 lower senses: hear, taste, sight, touch, and smell. In reality, these 5 senses are really one sense, because all the senses in one way or another deal with the sense of touch. Humans lost the ability to communicate with the Netir. When the barytheric gland was removed, contact with the 4 higher senses were lost. Patajatur, telepathy, telepathite, the ability to communicate messages from the mind without verbal speech. Hadasu, intuition, the ability to know what is about to happen before it happens. Psychimetry or psychometry, the ability to tell something about a person by holding an object that belongs to that person. Saphira, clairvoyance, the ability to see clear, know what is going on in another place or another room without seeing the event or events with the 2 physical eyes. All these deal with the sense of perception, istadrei, in cuneiform, and were stimulated by the barytheric gland located in the hippocampus area of the brain. This is the area of the brain where hallucinations are created, the hippocampus major. Some children are still born with their barytheric gland. Let me repeat that. What the angel is saying to the people. Some children are still born with their barytheric gland. Do you follow? Others have a part of its socket. Others have none. The Luciferians has even went so far as to try to fabricate a synthetic barytheric gland. That's right. Speaking, that's right. A team of scientists led by Theodore Berger, a biomedical engineer, is trying to design an artificial barytheric gland. Unquote. Speaking. This tells us, people, that the Canaanite Caucasian beast man is fully aware and knowledgeable of the barytheric gland. He knows that he is unworthy of one, and he will spend millions of dollars to fabricate one, just like he did to find a cure and scores of different medications for erectile dysfunction or sexual enhancers. The guidance of the Master's publication, Pamuf Kuzet, will shed light on his clandestine activities centered around the barytheric gland, and why a cure for erectile dysfunction took preference over Hansen's disease, melanoma, cancer, dementia, brain aneurysm, Alzheimer's disease, schizophrenia, St. Vitus's dance, leukemia, elephantiasis, and all the other major ailments and maladies that attack humankind. On page 9 of this scroll, we read, I am often asked, how will it all happen? That is, how will we all get 100,000 of light years away? Well, is called warping space and time by Pamuf-Kuzet or exotic matter. Speaking. How exotic matter can be used to manipulate space-time. Remember, now is always. Be it in the past then, or in the future then, each is linked by now. It is possible to modify space-time in a way that allows a Hinu-Ayat, Mandajit, or Binnu crafts or spaceships to travel at an arbitrarily large speed by a purely local expansion of the space-time behind the craft and an opposite contraction in front of it. A motion faster than the speed of light. 186,272.07 miles per second, reminiscent of warp drive. When in warp mode, the craft would not actually be traveling forward. The rate of acceleration will be 0, and for each being inside, who must also have taken liquid gold inbu and transformed to zero-time reference. In ancient Hut-Ka-Ptah and Hut-Ba-Ptah, they call Enbu Inbu for Nub or golden Nubian. The gold powder had magic or Hikka powers, or it was drunk as a liquid called liquid gold, and will take you, to a mystic place called Muf-Kuzet, where you meet with the Nitiru and become one of them. After you drink, you feel inside a strange feeling as you transform back into a golden child, or you let it dry into a powder, monatomic gold, liquid gold, or gold nub, as in min nubi re pata. Before we go any further, people, let us stop right here to get a better understanding of zero-time reference. In scroll number 80, Man from Planet Rizqa, it explains zero-time reference on page 66 by stating humans also have a time reference. Now, they are locked in zero-time reference, which is set time, created during an experiment, during the beginning of an experiment. For humans, it is a point at which each human was conceived, and it continues on to the gestation period until they are born. It is locked in the time stream, as he calls it, and is locked so that he can relate to society and civilization around him and flow at the same rate as everyone else, and has a reference that remains with him through his or her life until he or she dies, at which the soul goes on and can come back, reincarnate theoretically in the past or the future. Unquote. Holy Tablets, chapter 1, tablet 8.1 continues. Lo, speaking, your planet is within the 18th galaxy, called the Milky Way, because of its disc-shaped, dense, massive cloud of stars, which has millions of stars and light from planet Earth. The sun, stars, and reflected light of the moon from the sun produce the much-needed illumination for the Earth. One takes up where the other leaves off. Yet, this is only made possible by the motion of these heavenly bodies. It will take 30,000 years to go from Earth through the Milky Way at Earth's speed. Each individual conceived has a zero-time reference from the moment of inception. That is in the womb, the moment of incidence, in pure and holy, from the moment of inception, the moment or incident in pure and holy darkness, before cause or effect, before right or wrong, good and evil, before chaos, and conception, process and growth, in the unpure and unholy light of this world, where there is will, good and evil things happening. That is real time in each individual's existence in the physical world. From conception is fake time. You exist in what is called set time. You set the time from life to death. It all exists before you and will exist after you. You and your life is only a point or short space of real time, which exists in all. When the light is put on, it begins real time. Yet, existence already was in pure and holy darkness. And on the set time is each individual's real time existence, their point of origin. Verse 14 says, when beings enter into our planet, they travel interdimensionally using real time. And that's why they can pop up anytime within our zero time or fake time. Zero time is the first time for each individual as they come into this world while being born in real time. Unquote. Do you follow? Now, we all know Amun-Re is one of his names. The scroll by Mufkuzet gives us yet another version of this name, which it picks up by saying monatomic gold, liquid gold, or gold noob, as in Amun-Re. Then the scroll continues by giving us a breakdown of this version of the name by saying equals or ether. Equals or ether equals all. Min equals pillar. Nubi equals my liquid gold. Re equals sun's light. Equals eternal life. And Ptah equals open. Now, in scroll number 190, Ancient Egypt and the Pharaohs, on page 166, we are informed that Min the harvest deity, is another representation of Amun. Min is he who becomes erect. This phallic symbol is synonymous. This phallic symbol is synonymous that life is by sex, semen. That is why you see, speaking speaking, that is why you see minarets of the mosques, the Islamic mosques, in the shape of a phallus, representing men. Representing men, or Amun. Also, if you notice that there are numerous pictures of pharaohs, such as Pharaoh Tut-Ankh-Atun, who wears a raised apron over his lower abdomen down to his thigh, which covered an erect penis. Thus, when you see masons with these aprons with the G on it, it is said to stand for God, but in actuality it stands for genitals. Some say geometry. Do you follow? So, speaking, so in the cuneiform term, Amun-Re literally translates all pillar, my liquid gold, sunlight, eternal life opened. Do you get it? Think about it for a moment. Now back to Mufkuzet. Excuse me. Here then, in this form, as a golden child, at the speed of light travel, and will only require minimum time and minimum fuel, the chunk of space-time seemingly moved from the front of the craft to be relocated behind it by means of a contraction and expansion respectively. Yet what is necessary to make it possible is the exotic matter to generate alteration of space-time. You see, space is not empty, so the craft will have to rest in a warp bubble or pocket between the two space-time distortions. Exotic matter or white dust, liquid gold, it is matter which has a gravitational attraction of less than zero. As each of you must become, speaking, as each of you must become taking 9 steps backwards or become matter with the property of a negative energy density, unlike normal matter which has a positive energy. The Bennu or phoenix, called Mufkuzet or exotic matter, with the ability to bend space-time, where your body transformed into a car, light body. Now, the edition number 15. Leviathan 666 is now entitled The Spell of Kingu. Leviathan 666. It was originally copyrighted in 1971. Then it was revised in 1979, 1984, 1989, again in 1989, and the 50th revision was in 1996. On page 605 of this scroll, we learn the phoenix is a bird that is one of a kind. This bird lives for 500 years. When the end of 500 years is up, the bird must die. It builds itself a nest of frankincense, myrrh, and other spices, and it then enters the nest to die. As the flesh decays, a certain type of worm is produced, which nourishes itself from the liquids of the dead bird and grows feathers. When the worm has acquired enough strength, it picks up the nest, in which are the bones of its parent, and carries the nest to Arabia, then to Tamare, Egypt, to a city called Heliopolis, which is which is the city Anu or On or Auno in ancient Tamare. In open daylight, in the full sight of the people, it places the remains of the nest at the altar of the sun. After doing this, it returns back to its former home. The phoenix is said to be a lone and beautiful bird that lived for 500 to 600 years, afterwards consuming itself in fire, then rising renewed from the ashes to start another long life. Same scroll number 190, Ancient Egypt and the Pharaohs, on page 70 continues. The phoenix was usually depicted as a gray heron. The phoenix was usually depicted as a gray heron. Because of the heron's migratory habits. It is said that the phoenix comes to Heliopolis to mark important cycles of the New Age. Its first coming seems to have produced the cult of the Ben stone. Its first coming seems to have produced the cult of the Ben stone, and considered the divine seed of the prodigal, prodigal cosmic bird. This idea is evident from the root Ben or Ben, which means human sperm or human ejaculation or seeding of the womb. As you can see from the definition of the word, Ben denotes sexuality, procreation, copulation, fertilization. In the Hebrew language, the word Ben means seed, son, male child, unquote. Now, in the scroll entitled Questions to Dr. Malachi Z. York about the beginning, on pages 280 and 283 through 283, we learn a little more about the word Nu. Speaking, we are searching for the fullest understanding of the word Ben Nu that was given in this scroll par Muf-Kuzet, so that we may fully grasp the info which is being conveyed to us. Are you with me? Now, in the scroll, the beginning, we learn that Nu is the Nitir of the Primeval Waters. He is the father of Ra. Quote, O Nu, you are the eldest Nitir God from whom I had my being, and ye ancestral Nitirat, Elohim gods, unquote. Now, speaking, we should have a better understanding what is Ben Nu or Phoenix from the scroll Pamuf-Kuzet. Now let us continue with the reading of Pamuf-Kuzet. So, the Ben Nu or Phoenix, called Muf-Kuzet, or exotic matter with the ability to bend the space-time, where your body transforms to a car, a light body. The platinum group metal Ruthenium affects human DNA. When a single Ruthenium strand ruthenium atoms are placed at each end of a short strand of DNA, the strand becomes 10,000 times more conductive, a superconductor, and in turn, the double helix creates a highly conductive path along the axis of the molecule. The males, the male, having lost his power, must be restored differently, while the woman kept her pure gold power. As her body purifies itself with the moon cycle called menstruation, red blood getting mixed with white blood as dead cells. Men don't menstruate every month, so his body does not replenish itself. Yet when she has a son by a man or drinks of his white wine and mixes her red wine with his as they give birth, her gold yellow ray or yellow light of ray goes out as well. She transforms into an G.A.O.T.U woman of Ish man. So she needs her light put back on, reactivated, and then the man needs his solar plexus sun relit. Then if they mix, there is no problem, as long as they both have been transformed. So monatomic ruthenium resonates or vibrates with the DNA, dismantles the short length helix and rebuilds it correctly. It is known that both iridium and rhodium have anti-aging properties, while ruthenium and platinum compounds interact with the DNA and cellular body. Now noob or gold, good gold, pure, and the platinum metals in their monatomic high-spin state can activate the endocrine glandular system, Parosha chakras, in a way that heightens perception, awareness, perception, and aptitude. In effect, transform one mortal into an Itiru and to an extraordinary level. So the high spin in Book or powder of Noob gold has a distinct effect upon the pineal gland at the top, increasing melatonin production, which would repair all your mistakes and transform your color, all by the intake of liquid gold. Scroll number 132. The melaninite children teaches us about our true color. It states on page 3. Archaeologists and the like are amazed that everywhere they look for the remains of mankind existence, they find evidence that the original people of the earth were Nubian, that is, of dark skin with woolly hair, 9 ether. As humans multiplied in the earth, he chose the rich river valleys and well-watered plains for permanent settlement. He developed all aspects of society. No matter how much so-called history has told you, speaking about Nubians, there are certain pieces of information that you are missing about your color. Speaking. That has not been told to you, based on the fact that those who are talking about your color are interpreting it improperly. They are not giving you the pieces you need to put the information together. In order that you fully understand, do you wonder why they are that color? Or maybe why this is the color of the planet? Just somehow it's not the right color, no matter how proud you are. And if we were superior in colors that we say we are, as from the yellow to all the way to the darkest of dark, then why are we dying from the same diseases that our slave master have introduced to us? If we were superior because of color, then even the greatest of strife, with the greatest of strife, we would not die from anything likened to him. Even though we have adopted his sick philosophies, his way of eating, and his way of behaving. Somehow, the superior melanin would have overstepped that, and we would be back on track onto our immortal ways. Based on everything that we see on this planet, the color that most assimilate best with solar light is green. There is a piece of information that is missing about color as far as humans are concerned. Your real color is green. Speaking. Not brown. You are brown because you are rusted. You are now taking in so many ions and oxygen which are poisoning your systems. As you can see, most of the religions depict their gods as being green, like Krishna of the Hindus is depicted as aquamarine. The Native Americans used the color topaz. The deities of ancient Tamare, Egyptian, Aseto Isis, and Asaru, Osiris, are always drawn green. Are always drawn green. Aset Isis, they say, is the bestower of life, giver of her goods to the Nitiru, and giver of offerings to the spirit. She is a